I'm Cole Burkeen. I'm chair of the Tillamook County Democratic Party. It's September 16th, 2022. It's the day after we have our weekly Thursday morning article discussion group, and on third Thursdays we talk about one article instead of multiple. And I normally do a little write-up after we do that, just to explain what we thought was valuable about this particular article. This time, one of Ruth LaFrance was in the meeting, and she sent me a suggested write-up, which was just totally better than anything I could have written. So I used hers, but I did want to add, my personal idiosyncratic kind of take on this article that we read, because it was an important and thought-provoking thing. Jim Heffernan was one who suggested it. The title of it is, let's see if I can, the title of it is, Trump Should Fill Christians with Rage, How Come He Doesn't? And, going into it, I was thinking, oh no, this is just going to be another article about hypocrisy on the right, hypocrisy, how about Trump's behavior being inconsistent with Christian values. And, we hear that all the time, and it's not persuasive to people on the other side of the political spectrum. I don't know how much good it does to repeat that. My personal opinion is that hypocrisy is kind of a lesser sin. Yeah, it's not good to be hypocritical, but all of us are at times. I certainly have been. I'm sure I am hypocritical in lots of ways today. But this article, this Michael Gerson article, kind of suggested another way of not so much talking about this issue, but of being aware of this issue and using that awareness to win the debate, but not in the traditional way. So I want to read you something from this art. And by the way, this is in the September 1st issue of the Washington Post. And Michael Gerson, for those of you who don't know, he's a pretty conservative guy. Most of us don't agree with it. A lot of what he writes, a lot of the political positions he takes. But this is just an unusually smart article, and I'm grateful to Jim for suggesting it. So let me read you this part towards the end. He says, imagine if today's believers were to live out the full implications of their faith. Instead of fighting for narrow advantage, they would express their love of neighbor by seeking the common good and rejecting a view of greatness that makes others small. Instead of being entirely captive to their cultural background, they would have enough critical distance to sort the good from the bad, the gold from the sand. This might leave them uncomfortable within their own tribe or their own skin, but the moral landscape is often easier to see from the periphery. Instead of being ruled by anger and fear, they would live lightly, free from grudges and ready to offer forgiveness, thus preserving the possibility of future reconciliation and concord. Instead of turning to violence in word or deed, they would assert the power of unarmed truth. They would engage in argument without slander or threats, demonstrating not wokeness or weakness, but due regard for our shared dignity. And he goes on. The whole thing is definitely worth reading, but I just want to stop at that paragraph and just say that asserting the power of unarmed truth is something that we can do as Democrats. If we engage in argument without slander or threats, demonstrating not wokeness or weakness, but due regard for our shared dignity, and with humility, just trusting that unarmed truth is one hell of a powerful thing, that has got to ultimately win the day. And it's probably a good thing that I'm not in charge of Democratic Party messaging, because everything I'm reading suggests that probably we need to learn how to present our case to the electorate in the same way that the Republicans do, which is ugly, but apparently effective. I think that it is likely to be more effective if we follow Michael Gerson's advice here, not just in our private behavior, but in our public and political behavior. That kind of behavior is attractive and will win us converts from the other side. People who do care, maybe they're a little bit hypocritical, it's not my place to say, but I know that they do care. I know a bunch of these people, and I know that they do care about living virtuously, and they care about the morality in leadership. They understand that it matters. I think that they feel like they're, the cause that their guy is fighting for is more important than his private behavior or his public behavior sometimes. But they do care, and I think the more they notice that we care too, that we take seriously the power of unarmed truth, the more likely it is that they will join forces with us. So it's kind of my take on it. And like I say, it's a good thing I'm not in charge.